Hi, it's Scott, Rockfile, back with another podcast review. Let's talk about 2023's Pandemonium. Man, I love the name. That's kind of what drew me in. It's a 2023 French film about two guys who die in a car crash. This happens like before the credits roll. And they wake up on the road and they're like, hey, I feel pretty good. This is all right. And then it descends into what it becomes. I love the first third of this film. I like the final third of this film. It's the middle parts I'm still questioning. But when I watched the extras, I got more out of it. This movie was originally released back in August of 2023. It's a French release in French. It has subtitles, and yes, if you're not into that, I'm sorry. There is a dub. I didn't check it out. I always watch things in the original thing because I like their lips to match, even if I don't understand what they're saying. But I took a little French in high school, so I knew a little bit. Movie has 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. Google is about 50%. IMDb is about 5 out of 10. So take it for what it's worth. It's the second movie from an artist known as Quarks. He's a really cool guy, actually. When I first saw it, I'm like, pretentious name. Really don't know much about him, but I like the movie and what it seems to be about. But in the interviews, it turns out he's a really smart and interesting artistic fellow. He does a lot of stuff in different mediums, and this is only like his second movie. I will check out his first movie. This is not exactly a happy film either. The short version of Pandemonium, it's kind of a horror movie. It's got some pretty big genre, horror genre elements mixed in with some of this other stuff. It starts as a deeply philosophical, very beautifully done, interesting concept of what happens right after you die. But what it gets into is basically, not to give too much away, but no matter what you did, no matter how big or small, if you screwed up, you're going down, and here's kind of what happens. And that's about it. I can't really get into details. The movie's broken up into a couple different stories. Like you have the story that it begins with, but then one of those characters sees a couple other stories, and then things wrap up with his story at the end. All in all, it was worth watching. I told my buddy Chris that this is one of those movies that I really enjoyed the experience of watching it. It's a challenging watch. It's an interesting watch. It's got elements of gothic horror. It's got elements of philosophy. It's got elements of, there's even a couple of comedic bits to it. But it's, in the end, kind of dark and semi-depressing. Things kind of disintegrate. And I don't think all of the points come home to really hit you in the end with what he was going for. That being said, it did hit me. Does that make sense? I don't think it fully is successful in what it attempts, but it was definitely worth watching. If this sounds like your cup of tea, pick it up. I got lucky. I picked up the Arrow limited edition on Blu-ray. It hasn't been released in 4K, which seems to be going out of print. I've talked before about HamiltonBook.com. If it's there, it's usually either something that wasn't very good, something that wasn't very well received, or something going out of print. And I keep a wish list on that. Sometimes the price drops and whatever, and they let me know that Pandemonium had a price drop. I think I picked it up for about $10. Well, I always compare with Amazon and other places about how much the movie would cost me to get it elsewhere, and the price is rising on Amazon and other places to over $30. It's an Arrow special edition. It's a limited edition. Comes with the Blu-ray. It comes with a reversible sleeve, a nice heavy slip case as well, and inside you get a booklet. I love that Arrow does this. More U.S. companies need to do this. Arrow, which is a UK company, usually puts a booklet with essays from movie experts or critics or the director or the writer or something, and there's all sorts of great stuff about this movie in the booklet in English, which is awesome. It also comes with a fold-out poster, which I don't see with a lot of these. It's a small poster that is the artwork that's on the front and then the artwork that's on the reverse. The front is somebody painted artwork of a man, but it's got other things in it. On the other side, it's a picture from the film used as a cover, I guess, in other places. So what I usually do with these Arrows is I flip it around to like the original artwork, because it's different than what's on the slipcover. So when you take it out, it looks different. Did that with the Demolition Man and some of the other Arrow releases. So this is basically tortured souls. Maybe it's hell. It's a little different than what most religions teach is hell. He had some grand ideas of what he wanted to pull off, and he couldn't. They didn't have the budget. He wanted to do kind of the 9 levels of hell and the 9 different bits that you would get to if you lost your humanity and all that kind of stuff. There really is some deep layers to this. Does it all work? Well, that's up to you. Maybe your cup of tea. With Lynch passing, a lot of people are looking for more of these kind of movies that tell these weird stories in weird and different ways. This would definitely be from that category of films. Not that he's anywhere near as weird or as good as a Lynch, but Quarks, he's directed 2 movies, done a few other things. I'm interested to see what he does next. And his idea to make this movie and why he did it, well, that's in the extras. Arrow has collected several interviews with the special effects people, with the director. It's also got a making of, behind the scenes, trailers. There's a lot of extras on this for what it is. It's actually a very, very nice package that I got for really cheap. So if it sounds like your cup of tea and you want it in your collection, I would pick it up before it's gone, because these Arrow special editions go out and then they release some standard edition later. This is like 1 disc and no extras and all that kind of stuff. So it's up to you. But I think you would get limited mileage with this movie, retread, watching it over and over. It is something I would probably revisit just because I'm a student of film and it's very interestingly made. And some of the points he's trying to get across, I don't know that I fully got all those like in the middle parts. So check it out, Pandemonium. It came out in 2023. It's on a few streaming services. Like I said, it's available in an Arrow Video Blu-ray. I'm Scott. I'm Rockfile. That gets a half recommendation if it sounds like your cup of tea. Is that okay? Thank you for listening to a podcast. I've got a lot more cut. You should see the stack of stuff that finally came in from like December and stuff. So many movies, so many reviews coming. So thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and have a fantastic day.